I'll come back. We're going to be interviewing Jill Shavis today. She's a New York Times bestselling author and also USA Today bestselling author, right?
Yes, that's correct.
This is Jill, guys. And just so you know, I was trying to count all of her books earlier when I was making my Instagram post, and I kept losing count. Have you really written over 90 books?
Yeah, it's more fingers than toes than I have. I don't know exactly how many it is, but it's quite a bit.
That is amazing.
I mean, I started back in the Ice Age, so.
Well, I heard that you're 12. You had your daughter when you were 12. And,
yes.
Yeah, and she had her daughter when she was 12.
Correct. Yes.
Because you're a grandma, but you do not. You seem so young.
Well, she actually did have her babies very young, so I got lucky.
I know. My mom made a joke the other day to my sister. She said, "You're just not the energetic grandma." And she said, "I'm old. What do you want from me?"
It was hard enough the first time to add 20 years to that.
Right. Well, welcome everyone. This is Jill. We're going to be just talking with her today. I found her recently and really fell in love with particularly one of her series. But the treat about Jill is, do you ever find a show on, Amazon Prime or something, and you are like, oh, this looks good. And then you look and realize there's so many others you get to watch. And you're like, yes, I know productivity is going to be at an all-time low. That's how I felt when I discovered you and really dug in. And I thought, oh, let me give myself a week to prepare and read this book. And I embarrassingly read it in one day.
Hey, that's my favorite thing, is to find a show and discover there's 90 seasons.
Yes. So here we go. 90 books, guys. You can get started. We're going to be talking today about her most recent debut, which is super fun. One of my first book to read of yours that I really enjoyed. And it is Love for Beginners. Tell us a little bit about that. How did this one... I know these characters are so vibrant. I mean, I was invested in this book. And then at the end, I'm like, these people aren't real. Stop it. These people aren't real.
But they felt real. It's funny because sometimes the characters come to me first, and sometimes just a situation comes to me, or a scene or something, usually something funny. And I'll try to build a whole book around one stupid little funny thing. But in this circumstance, it was an actual situation. I wanted to know, what would happen if you had to start your whole life over? Everything, your work life, your love life, your home life, everything. Would you do it the same? Or would you take different roads? Would you go for hopes and dreams that you'd missed out on your first time? Or, what would you do? That's what I started with. So that's the whole premise of Love for Beginners. We have this heroine who wakes up from a coma, and she's lost her job and she's lost her apartment. And her fiance and best friend fell in love, sitting bedside for her, waiting for her to wake up. And so she literally has to start everything completely over. And I was just curious to know, would she do it the same? Would she make the same mistakes? Would she learn from those mistakes that she couldn't quite remember? So that's where that book came from.
Well, it was really great. And I have to say that Hog stole the show.
Her dog, yes. So that was... I really love to put animals in my books because I think they just add the humor for me. If I'm writing a serious subject, I can get some humor out of the animals. So I decided that she needed an emotional support dog. But unfortunately, what no one told her was that Hog, who's about 150 pounds, he's a St. Bernard, is afraid of his own shadow. So she becomes his emotional support instead of the other way around. And in the doing of that, it actually gave her first little leg of confidence after having to start her life over. She has to have it together for her dog.
We have a lot of people jumping on. Guys, be sure to hit that follow button because we have so many more author series coming. So Deb Cochran, she wrote, I'm reading the Wildstone series now and love it. I'm on the 4th book. And I have to tell you, that's my mom. I told her about these books, and she is now on the 4th. So you can see how this is going.
Nice. I love it. Keep going.
Awesome. I want to talk a little bit about the Wildstone series because you make this come to life in this beautiful town and these people, and you fall in love with these people. It's hard to remember that these people are not, they're not real. I mean, what is you are so talented with that. Tell me how this particular series came to exist and how did you come up with it?
I've always written series in the past where you kind of had to read the first one and the second one and the third one. And I just really wanted to write a series that I could get comfortable in. I loved the setting, and the setting was a character in itself, but the books could be read in any order, truly could be read in any order, and that you wouldn't miss anything. So these books are all connected by the setting. It's a place called Wildstone, and each story is its own story. There's no carryover. Once in a while, you may see characters in the background from previous books, but there's nothing about their personal stories, so you can read them in any order. I just felt like it was important to give readers that. And I'd gotten a lot of letters about how people love series, but when I'm writing book 12 of a series, they get worried. They don't want to start at 12, and I don't expect them to read 1 through 12 to start. So this is where that came from.
Well, that's happening. People are going back and just falling in love with
That's
them
okay.
all, so
that's great. I love that.
That's okay too. I love to find an author and discover all the different series and settings and things like that. And then you also have your new one coming out here. And well, we have, and you guys can pre-order these. You can click on the links down below. And Holiday Ever After is coming up. That's coming up. What's your release date on that?
It's in October. I don't know the exact release date, but I want to tell people that what that is an anthology collection, and it's 3 short Christmas stories that I have written in the past and that were released just digitally. And so my publisher put them together for print readers and people who wanted to buy digitally and have all 3 together. So those are not new stories, but if you're new to me, they're new to you. And if you don't read digitally, they're new to you. So it's just a way to give people a Christmas Shavis book.
Love it. And then you have your new one coming up, and this one is your Sunrise Cove.
Yes. Right. So Love for Beginners, which came out a couple weeks ago, is right now the last of the Wildstones.
No.
It's not the last of them, period. Okay. It's the last for right now. I will most definitely go back. There's 7 or 8 in that series, and like I said, they all stand alone. Okay. But sometimes I hear from readers like, I want to start something new. So I'm doing a new series called Sunrise Cove. It will be the same as Wildstone in that the stories stand alone within the series. And Sunrise Cove is set in Lake Tahoe, which is where I'm from and where I write from now. And so I just thought it'd be fun to write. There's so many, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, the most comments I ever get are because I post pictures. People love it. So I thought, well, why not set a book in Tahoe? So that is what January's book is. It's called The Family You Make. And the premise of that one came to me. What would happen if you thought you were going to die and you called your mom to tell her goodbye, and then you don't die? And what would happen? So I set this up where there's 2 people stuck in a gondola in the storm of a century, and the gondola in front of them goes down. It's empty, but still, they think they're next. So these 2 strangers think they're going to die. And the hero calls his mom because he just feels like he's compelled to call her one last time. And all she's ever wanted for him was to be in love. And so he tells her, Mom, I love you. I'm in love. Don't ever worry about me. All is good. And then he hangs up, and then he doesn't die. And now he has to produce that girlfriend for her. And so he cons the girl sitting next to him who thinks she's going to die too and doesn't, into pretending to be his girlfriend for a family dinner. And
well, we have a lot of comments coming in. Paula said, I am so excited for this series. Thank you. Yvonne said, loved your big Love for Beginners. Love all of your books. Can't wait for The Family We Make. Stacy says, hello from Louisiana. And now they all want that book now. Now we all have to wait. That's okay.
You can get Love for Beginners right now, which also is a personal favorite of mine. And it just came out.
Really good. Really good. And a beautiful cover too. I have a dog that looks just like Hog that lives next door to me.
A St. Bernard.
Yes. And his name's Timber. Oh, and every morning I go out to work on my garden. I harvest stuff in the morning, and his fence is right next to my garden, and he greets me every morning. So it made me think of that dog.
Is he also afraid of his own shadow the way Hog is?
He definitely is. Definitely. He's afraid of butterflies, probably. Oh. But he's a friendly boy. You have beautiful covers for all your books.
Yes, I wish I could take credit for that, but HarperCollins has given me a wonderful cover artist.
Oh, They're really beautiful. I was doing an interview with one of my friends the other day, and we were talking about how we always judge books by their covers, whether we want to read them or not.
It's hard not to.
Are awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
They'll be happy to hear that you feel that way.
What's one thing about you that readers might be surprised to learn from you?
I don't know if this is a surprise or not. I am a true introvert. Like, it's so funny to me that I've chosen this career where I get to be alone all day. I don't have to talk to people, and I get to just write. I get to make stuff up for a living. I mean, there's no better job for me than that. I'm also uniquely suited to do absolutely nothing else. But it's so amusing to me that I am an introvert and chose a career that I could be alone. And then now I realize, they expect you to go out and talk about your books, and they expect you to talk to people and be on video and comb your hair.
That's kind of why we made this show, is so that we can bring it from home, just low-key, fun, exciting, talk characters, talk good, funny stories. And I love your sarcasm, I guess, your way of writing. When I'm reading the book, I laughed out loud a lot, and my husband was like, "What are you laughing at?" And I'm like, "She writes like I talk."
I mean, I do. I write like I talk too. And I think the trick to that, and the trick to humor, if there's any authors or wannabe writers out there, is to read your story to yourself out loud when you're done. And if the dialogue doesn't crack you up, or if it's stilted at all, go back for another draft.
What's the one book that you're most proud of that you've written so far? I mean, that's a hard question since you've written over 90.
It's hard. It's usually the one I just finished, because I feel like they almost kill me every time, and somehow they get harder and harder. And I think I could never do this again. And then, of course, I do it again. So it's almost always the one that's finished and turned in. And so in this case, it's Love for Beginners. I think that was a first for me. It was kind of a more serious story, even though there's a lot of funny moments in it. And so I would say Love for Beginners. But if you ask me in a couple months, it will be The Family You Make, because then I will be done and it will be gone.
What's one of your biggest writing goals that you haven't achieved yet? I mean, over 90 books and a New York Times bestselling author and USA Today bestseller. What's one thing that you have or you just feel like you're just living the best life? What do you feel like is?
I never feel like that. It's a hard job. I know it doesn't seem like it, but you have to be self-disciplined, and you have to stay true to your voice and still please readers. So it's hard. I say my goals are I always have a goal out in front of me, and I always suggest people have goals. In the very beginning, I took the printed New York Times list, and Nora Roberts was at number 5. And I wrote my name over the top of hers. And, 5 years later, I was number 5 on NYT. So I always say you have to dream it to live it. And I really believe that. So at the moment, my favorite goal is selling a series to Netflix or Prime or Apple or something like that would be a dream come true.
I had to say, that's my next segue. When I was reading up and getting ready for this interview, which was not hard to do. You are fascinating. Your books are amazing. I about lost it when I realized that you had a movie, and I'm probably going to butcher his name, but Thomas Baudouin. Did I say that right?
I don't know how to say it. All I know is he's gorgeous. He was awesome.
He was in the movie A Spirit of Christmas. Mm-hmm. And in my house, if I watch that movie one more time, they're going to rehome me. And so it's not really him. I just really liked the story. I mean, he definitely helps, but yeah. I love the story. And so when I realized he's in your movie, I was like, what?
So that was in a different series than we've talked about. And it was called Heartbreaker Bay. And it was a series that I set in San Francisco. And the premise is there's this old 150-year-old building centered around an old water fountain. And the story goes that if you wish for true love into the fountain, you'll get true love. And so there's a series of 7 or 8 of those books. And the one that was made into a movie was called The Trouble with Mistletoe. And it was a Christmas story. And it has a bazillion animals. The heroine runs a pet store. So it's the last book of mine I expected anybody to make a movie out of, because it's the hardest book to make a movie out of. It was animals galore. And somehow I got lucky enough. I had nothing to do with it. Not the movie, nothing, not the casting, anything. But I got lucky enough that he played the hero. And you can stream it from Amazon, actually. You can get
I
it.
know. I found that out and I showed my husband and he's like, oh man, it's not like the Spirit of Christmas, is it? I said, it's a new one. He's like, oh, thank God. I mean, they hear the sound of that movie at the beginning and they're like, Mom, stop.
It's a classic. It's a good one.
So I linked that down below. I cannot wait. I have to read the book first, though. So I was going to download. You guys can rent it or buy it right here on Amazon, and I did link it. And you can even is it the Passion Flix?
It is on Passion Flix. Yeah.
Get a 7-day trial here on Amazon if you're Prime. So I have to read the book first. So I've already ordered it. It's coming.
Now that series, Heartbreaker Bay, it's The Trouble with Mistletoe is book 2. Okay. Book 1 is Sweet Little Lies. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot my own title.
So you think I should read those 2 first? And then
I suggest reading Sweet Little Lies and then The Trouble with Mistletoe. My personal favorite of that series is number 3, which is Accidentally on Purpose. 90 titles, people. I can't keep up. Yeah, so I suggest reading those 3 in order. And then the rest of the series actually can be read in any order, but the 3 came together.
So everybody go ahead and message Netflix, Amazon Prime, all the places, and tell them they need to buy this. They're all saying in the chat, I love Heartbreaker Bay series. Oh my gosh, yes, we'd love to see your series come true. I love the Christmas movie. Wow. Okay, no, I can't wait.
Yeah, I just hope someone picks up the Wildstone series, the whole series. I think
the Wildstone series is really, really beautiful. Like, I agree. I completely agree. I think that's going to be amazing. And let's just go ahead and put that out there. It's going to happen.
Okay, great. You got to dream it to live it, right?
Yes. So did you have a second movie that's made from a book? I think it was a short one, maybe.
No. So it was a short. Passion Flix was doing Christmas shorts. Mm-hmm. And I have, if you go to my website, jillshavis.com, and you sign up for my newsletter, you get a free short story. And so Netflix made that short story into a Christmas short. So if you're going to go look at that one, go to jillshavis.com, sign up for my newsletter, get the story first. It's short, and then go watch it.
I have to read everything first before I watch things.
I do too.
Yes. Okay, what are you most excited about right now? What's coming down the pipe for you? I mean, I know we have three releases coming up, right?
Well, 2 for sure. I mean, Love for Being is out, and then we have the Holiday Ever After, the novella collection, and then in January we have The Family You Make, and I have another book coming out next June, which I don't have a cover for, and I don't think it's even up yet, called The Friendship Pact. Okay. So that one's not finished yet, but that's what's coming. So the thing I'm most excited for is finishing that book.
What does a day of writing look like for you? I know I read somewhere that you write outside, even when it's like Arctic weather. Is this true?
Do.
Oh my gosh.
I live near Lake Tahoe, so it's beautiful summers, real mild summers normally. This year is an exception, and very snowy, cold winters. And I do love to write outside, so I have the right gear, and that's what I do. If I can.
Yeah.
It's just, the house is noisy. There's a lot of people in my house, and I have a lot of decks, and I have a patio, and I can walk. I live in the woods. I don't know if you can tell out my window, but I can walk through the woods about 300 yards to a cliff, and then the river is down there. So I can sit on the cliff. I can go to the river. I can go to the lake. It takes, I don't have internet anywhere out there, so it's perfect. I can't get distracted. I'm ADHD and I'm unmedicated. So if I'm in the house with internet, that I'm going to mess around. I'm not going to work.
I have heard that authors will say they'll shut their Wi-Fi off just to get their work done.
Yeah, but I don't even have enough discipline to do that because I know how to turn it right back on.
Yeah, and I have unlimited data on my phone, so I'd be like,
yeah, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. So I gotta go. I gotta go outside.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine that's the most beautiful nature sounds to write to.
It is. I love to write to that, to the sounds. I mean, I do come across bears and coyotes and stuff. So that, I mean, it can be a challenge. We have in our woods right now, we have a daddy bear. He's, we call him a cinnamon bear. He's a black bear, but he's cinnamon color. So he's really light. And he is the size of a VW bus. So he is massive. He has no interest in me. He'll walk right by. And then we have the mom, and she has 3 babies. And as long as I don't get between her and the 3 babies, everything's fine.
Oh my goodness. Well, you stay safe because we really
Yes.
need you. We don't need you to be eaten by a bear. We're going to be like, where is Jill's book? Why didn't it come out? Where is Jill? No, don't get eaten by a bear. Well, this has been fun. What is something that you'd like to share? Where can they find you? Do you regularly do your newsletter? What do you have?
I do. Well, sign up for the newsletter at jillshavis.com just so you can get the free story. And I send out newsletters like once a month, just letting you know what's happening. But mostly you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. And I just I don't do a lot of book stuff there. It's more for me. I share my photos. I love to take pictures, silly stuff, funny stuff, and stuff that I find amusing. So follow me there and feel free to talk to me. You can also, if you want to talk to me, go to my website and hit the contact button and send me an email.
One of the things that I absolutely love about your feed is your pictures are just absolutely perfect. I mean, the water, the blue, I mean, it looks
it's amazing. You can't take a bad picture out here. It's not me. You really just can't take a bad picture.
Were you always a writer?
You know, my mom says that I was making up stories before I could hold a pencil, and she used to call that lying. I don't know. I mean, I just always told stories. It's just what I did.
Have you ever watched The Queen's Gambit?
Yes, I love that show. That's a good show.
When she would lay in bed and play chess on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
I always think that's probably what writers do. They're always putting stories together.
Always dreaming. My head's always in the clouds.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Well, now I have to go read all of Heartbreaker Bay. And I'm going on a trip soon, so my Kindle will be locked and loaded and ready to roll.
I hope you enjoy them.
I'm excited. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview. You guys can all find Jill at jillshavis.com. You can also find her at Jill Shavis on Instagram. And on Facebook, you are easily searchable. You can pull her up and follow her page for more. Be sure to hit that follow button here on Amazon live stream because we're going to be having a lot more author Q&A and meet the author, find new books. I want you to fall in love with new authors and just find new books and series to read. And I thank you guys so much for watching this. Thank you so much, Jill, for hopping on.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, I can't wait to get your new books.
Thank you. I'll talk to you.